Quick stream.
I've checked
Hello,
record.
everyone. Local Desert 2 here with Mini VMAC. And
Hello,
today,
everyone. Mini VMAC here, and today with John, we're going to read something we've never read before: a creepy pasta.
I've read
Creepy
this
pulse
before as a kid,
pasta.
but I haven't read this in almost in like 9 years. I think it's
All
been
right.
so long. So
No further ado. John's going to be the child, and I'm going to be every other one.
I've been in a car for 10 minutes and my eyes are already drooping.
Oh, you're going to narrate it? Okay.
Mommy and daddy who were talking
Daddy.
about boring stuff, and daddy, oh.
Uh,
Yeah, we were talking about boring stuff and money. It was hard for me
whoa.
to pay any attention to much of anything. Mommy thought I would get bored, so before we left, she put on the SpongeBob movie. I've already seen it 100 times and could match up the words perfectly. I was far more interested in the fields we drove past and how they looked funny when we went fast. It was smashed together but moving. We were on the way to drop me off the grandpa's house for the weekend. Mommy and daddy usually drop me off for the weekends since they were busy and always said they didn't have time to take care of me. Good parenting.
Great parenting. Let's continue.
Sometimes they said they needed to do chores and stuff, which was bullshit. But even though the house was spotless, one time I asked Daddy about this. He said that he had no FIB. What the hell is an FIB? That it was no FIB. 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 What is FIB?
It could be a spelling error, you know.
Uh, F. I'm gonna Google this real quick. FIB
Dear
meaning
God, John.
a type a lie, typically an
A
unimportant one.
fib.
A fib, fib. Though I was smarter than that. I pressed him about it anytime he told me
Custard.
he wanted some. Al- he told me he wanted some alone. Oh no, he wanted some time with mommy. Mommy heard this in the next room and came in shouting it at me. I didn't do anything wrong, or maybe she didn't like me asking too many questions. I still cried myself to sleep at night. Jesus Christ, that got dark. I took my earbuds out and that played SpongeBob's voice and asked mommy, "Mommy, are we there yet?" Oh, she quickly looked at me and then back of the road and said, "You're
No,
right."
we left not 15 minutes ago. That's what she sounds like. Be patient and watch your SpongeBob movie. She sounded like a smoker. Alright,
Give
keep
me a
going.
second, I'm drinking something. The fuck?
Okay, you're at
Did
she
it just move on its
replied.
own?
You're at she replied.
Hang on.
She replied.
She replied. She sounded kind of annoyed. I mean, I did that. I stumped down on my seat, staring at my shoes. I kicked them back and forth slowly. I wanted to ask Daddy something, but it felt like he didn't want to be bothered either. I laid my hand on the car door, looked at the whistling fields. Maybe when I can drive, I'll drive so fast, then I'll take off and start flying. I wonder what the fields would it look like then. I can feel my eyes getting heavy, which means I'm tired. Maybe. Jesus Christ!
Fuck you. Sorry. I have some gas.
Mommy?
Don't worry, sweetie.
This is
It'll
fine.
be
Nobody
all
watched that
right.
content.
After all, where's my goddamn smokes?
I'll
Oh.
probably have to do serious reading on this someday.
Yeah.
I wonder what the blah 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 blah. There we go. Maybe I'll sleep this boring card ride off. Mommy, Daddy's voices started to sound funny, but I didn't really care, and things got dark. A warm feeling was on my cheeks, and I could feel someone call my name. I didn't want to wake up. It felt too good to sleep. I tried to ignore them. Then they shook me and called louder. Will, oh, wait, not. Um,
Is this the father or
uh,
something?
uh,
It looks like a guy. I'm just gonna reply. Okay, I'm just gonna do something.
just,
Will,
just,
William, wake up! We're at Grandpa's.
alright.
Muscle Man. Yes.
You know who? Oh
You
God.
know who else likes
I
to
should
sleep
have. I
during
should have
boring
gave.
car
Ah,
rides?
damn it! I should have planned this ahead. I should have voiced the grandpa instead, so I could give Pops his voice. Good show.
You will.
I was blinded by the light. The sun was out and really bright and stuff. It kind of hurt for the few seconds, but it got better when I could finally see we were outside Grandpa's big old shack. As he always calls it, the nut
Sometimes calls it
shack.
the sex dungeon, but I don't
I was
really
about, I
understand
was
where he
about
got
to
that from.
I was about to call it the nut shack.
The cum dungeon.
The cum zone. When I could finally see where Grandpa was sitting on his rusty old porch chair that he's had since World War II or something. When was this play? When is this place? Jesus. I love seeing that big house. It had a big parking area, and the house itself had like a billion rooms. It looks small on the outside, but it's funny to see how big it is in the inside. That's what she said. I hopped out of the car and walked in the grass. The grass is really green, and everything in Grandpa had a huge garden by the porch. There was a few trees here and there in the front yard, but in the backyard, which I really, really liked, was a beautiful tree near the back fence. This is important. Grandpa calls it the oak, which I told him that it was the same name as Professor Oak for Pokemon. Grandpa shook his head at me and said something about not to bring up to date on what kids are into now. It's kind of funny, how much he doesn't know. I think it's because he's so old. Fucking. So I replied, "Okay, Boomer." Grandpa over
I
until
know about all the furry suits all the fursuit sex you've seen. I know what you've been watching. Jolly good show.
suits existed in 1940s. Yes, it did. Oh no!
Oh no, bro.
Oh no, bro! he said we should get something to drink before Mommy and Daddy left. Daddy told him that they really had to get going and didn't have the time. Grandpa just responded with, do you
That's
want to
the
be?
grandpa's
You want to be?
line. Don't you want to do pops?
All right, it's gonna be dude. If we did that, it's just gonna be me reading this whole story. You could just be the grandpa because we're gonna be reading this a lot. Uh, I remember how much time it took reading this alone. It's better if you just read the grandpa.
All right, Robert. I guess I'll see you later.
That is, your son makes it out alive. What? What?
It was weird that he called Daddy Robert when his name was Daddy. I had once asked Daddy about this, and he told me that it was his real name. I told him he was lying, and he just laughed and roughed up my hair. This strange feeling I have that Mommy and Daddy are kind of not there. Seem like they don't care much about anything. That's why I liked coming to Grandpa's, because though he was old and stuff, he still walked around being happy and whistling sometimes. Although I'm not too sure about his basement, but we'll talk about that later. Mommy and Daddy got into the car, backed out of the driveway, then rode down the road. Grandpa and me stood there and watched them drive off down the winding path that was Grandpa's driveway. When I couldn't hear the car anymore, Grandpa turned to me and said, Ready to head in? I nod as we both walked into the big double doors of the White House.
I don't think my character ever has it. Does my character have many lines in
During the
this?
time I spent here, I had lots of fun doing different stuff. I get to play board games with Grandpa or watch TV or run and play outside. There's a
Okay, I guess
neighbor
this
girl
gets
that
me
I was
many
friends
direct
with, and
reads.
sometimes we'd play around the house. Her name was Sally.exe, and she was really pretty. Some of the memories with her were the best. Playing hide and seek in a huge
I
house was
remember
our
this.
favorite game. Never really liked going over to her house because her mom was really
Alright,
loud and
Who
yelled a
wants to
lot.
play? Who wants to play
Grandpa was
Sally?
pretty understanding of what home she came from, so
Who
she let
who
Sally
who
stay
should
for
play
dinner and
Sally?
stuff.
Who should play Sally? Because she'll be a returning character.
You'll play as her?
All right, so you'll be the narrator as well. So like you'll be the
I
grandpa
guess,
narrator, and
yeah,
I'll just be the kid
since I
Sally.
don't think your kid has much lines. I had got to Grandpa's early in the morning, so I hadn't had much time to do much before Grandpa called from the kitchen that lunch was ready. I was up in the room. I stayed on the highest floor. I really liked this room because you look out the window and see forever. You could see the huge yard out front, Sally's house, and some other
I
people's
can
homes.
piss
All
right
the
out
trees
the
and
window and just see how high my piss can go. It's
Sitting
like
up
a
here all
mini
didn't seem like the
rain.
world. Grandpa's house was full of surprises.
Oh no.
I could hear Grandpa's voice calling again, this time louder, which was enough for me to snap out of my daydreaming. I stood up, ran out of my room down the stairs. Jumping some of the steps always made me feel like I was a pro runner or something. Then I fell on my fucking face. I
Yeah,
had
you
fallen a
say
few.
bolt.
Oh, never mind. I've fallen a few times, but it didn't bother me that much. I finally got down to the third floor and slid into the kitchen on my socks. And then I hit the sink hit my stomach and I puked everywhere. Oh God, not again!
Honestly, I thought that happened for a second. And I'm like, God, did that happen?
Okay, that's your line right there. The perfect one.
Uh, Perfect.
Thought to myself, smiling a little. I ran and sat on one of the chairs around the kitchen table, and Grandpa gave me a plate with a sandwich and a cup of orange juice. He always knew what just to make. I sat there munching my sandwich. I heard a knock on the door. Grandpa left his spot from the counter and went to go answer the door.
What?
I didn't hear anything after Grandpa left the room. I was too involved with eating to care. Soft footsteps were behind me. Though I thought Grandpa was coming back to the room, I felt something pushing on my chest. It scared me a little. I threw my sandwich down on the plate, tried to grab whatever was on me. I could feel a pair of arms. Not big arms, hairy and old like Grandpa's. They were soft and kind, small. Looking at me, I could see a straight yellow-haired girl standing behind me, hugging the chair and me. That's you.
Yep.
She hugged a little harder for a moment, kind of choking me. Then she let go, backing up to give me room to turn around. She had a big old smile on her face.
Hi, Sally. What are you doing here so early?
I asked her if Grandpa was coming back to the living room, which was between the door and the kitchen, and went down in the hall. I heard the door open and close there. I wonder why Grandpa always goes back there when I'm doing something other than hanging out with him.
I'll come back. I saw you. I saw you come in with your mom and dad. I thought I'd stop by. I didn't want to waste the day. We need to keep started on the fun things.
She sounded like she was really excited, and awfully like Ashley for a minute, but I decided to ignore it.
I'm gonna get Natsuki's voice. All right, let's go play outside.
We both turned and ran to could be Natsuki, who knows. Ran to the sliding black door and back to yard. It's not only that I was hanging with Sally that I liked seeing the bright green grass and the huge trees in the back that looked really neat. But
I like
there
the
was also a
budget
shack that had the Subway sign on it. I try not to go near there because I always hear some funny things. It also smells bad. So we played tag for a while, running and laughing around the yard for a good amount of the afternoon. Sometimes I could see Grandpa's head looking at us through the window in the house. Even though I've been here as long as I can remember, I can never find that room that Grandpa went in. I think it's the same room that he kept looking at us through. It was kind of weird, but I didn't pay too much attention to that. After 3 hours of playing different games and running around, Sally and I were tired. We went and sat by the tree near the back to get some shade. So next to each other.
Well, I should
At
hope so. You've been playing outside for the past 9 hours.
no,
Yeah.
you guys need a refreshing glass of Circle Teen.
Class of Circle Team! Circle Team! It's the milk and vinegar! Uh,
The trunk of the tree always looked like something was splashed onto it. I imagine whatever the tree made so pretty I didn't care. I would have gone to sleep there, but Sally kept talking to me about random stuff. Didn't want to be mean, so I listened to her. She stopped talking after bed and lay down, staring up the leaves. I did the same on the other side of the tree. So once I put my head down, I felt something on the back of my head. Wasn't very comfortable, so I tried putting my head somewhere else. My head once again lied on some object. I sat up looking at the object I was laying on. I think the second one was a rock, but the first one looked strange. I picked it up and turned my fingers. Looks like some kind of branch or something. Maybe it was kind of squishy. Whatever it was about
what?
as long as one of my fingers, but a little bigger. Part of it was hard, only a small part of it. Almost threw it, thinking it was poo or something. Remember that Grandpa didn't have any pets, at least anymore. With the huge fence that went around the yard, no animals could get in. It was covered in mud and dirt. Couldn't really see what it was. At one end, it was all rough and had something in the middle. Kind of reminded me of a thing.
Oh, William!
No, wait, that's
Wait,
Grandpa.
that's you.
William,
Fuck!
Sally, come on in and have some lemonade. Grandpa called from the back porch. He had a different pair of clothes than the one I saw him with earlier. Got up, went over to Sally and wake her. She has been so tired she fell asleep, but she opened her eyes. But come on, she stood and walked with me to the house. I dropped the thing I found, not think about it again. When I asked Grandpa about his clothes, he told me he spilled some paint on them. He just wanted to get a new change of clothes. I looked around. I didn't see anything that had no color to it, but I didn't really care. Sally and I flopped down in front of the TV and started watching cartoons. Grandpa watched for a bit, then fell asleep in his big chair. I've seen these cartoons like a billion times, so I got bored. I tried thinking of something else to do with Sally, although a thought came to me. Something I've always wanted to know. I turned to Sally and asked her.
Hey, Sally. Want to go look around the house?
She looked just as bored as me, but also she was she looking like she was too sure. Or yeah, what the fuck? Okay, next line is you.
Oh my god. What the hell? Why is wrong on ad block? There we go. Why? We seen every room that we already seen. Been in the entire house. Been in every room. I don't know. It just is kind of boring. She turned back to the T. Oh wait, no.
She
Turn back.
turned back to the TV.
Not all the rooms.
When I said that, she turned back and looked like I finally got her attention.
I mean, you know the room Grandpa's always been in there. Would you be doing something? Yeah. Yeah. And the room the Grandpa looks at us when we're back. She was. Oh wait.
Oh, did you say your point? She sounded like she was getting annoyed.
She sounded like she was getting annoyed. Let's go find that room. I don't think we've been in there. It's totally awesome, mysterious. It's super special and awesome. Like super special awesome.
And mysterious. I tried to sound excited to make her want to do it while also being quiet. Didn't wake up Grandpa. She sighed and said,
Fine. TV. On the next episode of Game of Thrones, on second thought, maybe not.
"Oh, come on." She got up and I followed. And I told her we had bring something to protect ourselves, fight back monsters and unknown. This got her excited. We tiptoed to the kitchen, opened the drawer. We saw all kinds of eating things. Grabbed the big wooden spoon. She grabbed the spatula. Quietly closing the drawer, we got down on our hands and knees and started to crawl down the hallway. Grandpa didn't have the lights on now because it was still bright outside. We didn't need them on because we didn't want to wake him up. There were doors on either side of us, all the way down the long hall. We crawled in. I started to think that it was a bad idea to crawl because my hands and knees began to hurt and I didn't want to sound like a wuss. I told Sally I was tired, so I kept quiet. When we finally reached the end of the hallway, which went in two directions. My left was a nice guest room on the bathroom. My right was Grandpa's room, straight back, and a sunroom to the left. I told Sally that we're going to check out the guest room first. We searched underneath the bed and the closet, found also behind the pictures on the wall, just to be sure nothing. It made me kind of sad not to find anything, but there I was, still ground to cover. I still wanted to keep looking. Sally seemed to have had the same idea. Our next stop was a bathroom. Sally checked under the sink. I checked in the shower. Neither one of us wanted to check near the toilet, so we didn't. It also started to smell really fucking bad. We could have missed a secret door or something behind it, but it was gross, so we didn't. Also, if I was inspired Grandpa, I wouldn't want to crawl around the toilet just to get to my secret hideout. That's just dumb. It also fucking smells. We left to the bathroom and went the other way towards the sunroom and Grandpa's room. We decided to hit the sunroom first. Sunroom was pretty big and old with stuff everywhere. Sally sneezed a few times and all the dust in the air. Kind of surprised not to see dust anywhere else in the house. Couldn't find anything that stood out as old to us. The old wheelchair Grandpa had last year when he got hurt was still there. Remember, I used to ask him to race me on my trike. He just shook his head and laughed, almost dropped some big paintings when I was trying to see what was behind it. The room was empty. I don't think Grandpa would hide anything in this dusty old place. Grabbed our weapons and exited the room. Then went to the left. Grandpa's room was the last place it could be. The door was shut. Luckily, it couldn't be locked. It was one of those doors, like all the ones in the house. It didn't have a lock on it either side. I slowly pushed the door open and crawled inside. His bed was huge. First thing I saw, he bought just before Grandma passed away. Kind of feel bad for him, having to sleep in a huge bed like that alone. Well, except for those weird sounds that come from him whenever he's on his phone. I crawled around and looked on the table next to the bed. It was an N-word pass.
No!
Nothing but medicine and some. I thought that said some shitty jewelry, some shiny jewelry. I don't think he wears this, but he keeps it around anyways. Sally went to go check the closet, and I started looking around the study area by the window. Nothing in, on, or under it. Under the chair, the table that was near it didn't have anything but pencils and paper. Sally didn't find anything in the closet. Sat on the bed. The only two things that were left were in the room were a bookshelf, a big standing mirror, and I started checking the bookshelf, which she sighed.
Are you sure there's a secret room somewhere back here? We checked all the rooms that I could think that it could be, and nothing, nada.
She sounded angry. I stopped searching the bookshelf and went to go sit next to her.
Alright, Sally. Thought I could find something in the back here.
Looked down, a wooden spoon in my hand was in my lap. The room was real quiet. I thought it would last forever, so I got up and looked at the window.
Do something else.
Still your line.
No.
You say alright.
Alright.
I said I was kind of sad that I didn't find anything. Sally started walking out of the room, began to follow her, but I remember a big standing mirror on the other side of the bed opposite the door. It would bother me if I didn't check everywhere, so I went to go grab onto it. It's pretty big because it was a standing mirror and all, but this thing was ginormous. It was easily as tall as Grandpa and just as wide. You call him a fat ass? It was hard for me to stretch my arms to reach both sides to move it. Not considering how heavy it was, couldn't move it, so I went to the right side and lifted off the wall. I could see something, but I didn't have a good view. I whispered to Sally, but she couldn't hear me. Yelled as best I could. At first, I didn't hear anything. Then I heard footsteps come back down the hall.
These fucking ads keep like coming all over this place. What is it? What is it, Will?
She whispered back to me, coming back to the room.
Come here! Get that stuff back!
She shook her head and walked towards me. Next, you.
On the count of 3. One,
This
2,
better be good.
3. 1, 2, 3.
No. Up.
Lift.
This better be good. You didn't say that line.
Better be good.
She got on the
10.
other side and we both got ready to lift it up. Okay, now you can say that line.
What? Oh! 3. Lift.
On 3, we both lifted it up and back. It was a lot heavier than I thought. It was starting to fall towards us. Sally yelped and got out of the way. I tried to get in front to stop it from falling, but I wasn't strong enough. It came down me, forcing me to the floor. As I thought it would crush me, it stopped. Closed my eyes because I was kind of scared. When I opened them, I saw the bed. I caught it, barely though. I had to crawl from under it to see what happened. Sally was on the other side, stuck as we were between the mirror and the wall. It was fine, but shooken up.
Well, look.
She got my attention and she pointed to what was behind the mirror. It was a doorway, not as big as a normal big person door. It was about my height with another foot or so high, and a little small.
That's to
wide.
Will, like, rolling, not even paying attention. It's like, Will, look. Will,
Oh,
look.
oh, sorry, I was paying attention to my N-word pass that I just obtained.
You mean your grandfather's head?
My N-word pass. Now.
It's my property.
Who's got my N-word pass? Oh,
Run,
God,
Sally,
Grandpa,
run!
please. You know what happens when you try to steal from Grandpa. Come here, Will. It's time for some family bonding.
It's like you were right, Will.
She smiled at me and reached out to open the door.
Wait!
I said a bit louder than I wanted to.
Check it out.
She nodded, held the spatula close to her chest. I took out my trusty wooden spoon from my back pocket and held it at a ready position. I slowly reached out with my left hand and doorknob, which was kind of in the door as to hide it. I tugged it at it and it popped open. The door whined as I opened it, and all I saw inside was darkness. It smelled kind of funny, but it
Darkness
wasn't that
within
bad.
darkness.
I put my right foot in the darkness, about to go inside when Sally and me heard a noise from the next room. It sounded like Grandpa stretching and yawning. I got really scared this time, quickly put my fold out and dropped the spoon somewhere inside, but I was too afraid to be caught to care. I slammed the door shut. Sally started looking around nervously. I told her to grab the other end of the mirror and lift it back into position, which she did, and with both of our strength put together, slowly lifted it back to its original spot. I grabbed her by the hand, pulled her from the spot she was standing. We ran from the room. Heard footsteps coming down the hall towards us, and we ducked into the sunroom. Okay, how did he not like woke up from the fucking mirror falling?
'Cause the bed caught it.
Yeah, but it would make at least a little sound, don't you think?
Yeah,
I told
a
her,
lot.
and we both ran around trying to find a spot to hide. Found a spot behind
Unless they were
the
super,
old wheelchair, and she
super
had
thin
in some
floors.
hanging clothes. The footsteps got louder and louder until I heard them go into the bedroom. It was hard for me to breathe, part of the fact that the room was full of dust. Also, that I was terrified of being caught. I could hear something being moved, then put back in the bedroom, and the footsteps started coming back this way. Sally looked at me, and like fact, we both had the same scared face, and we knew what we were thinking the same thing. The footsteps came into the sunroom, and I stopped breathing. Well, more holding it in, but still didn't like it. The sound slowed down as it got closer to where I was, till the sound completely stopped. The wheelchair that I was hiding behind slid out from me, and I fell forward to yell. I yelled, but stopped when I saw my grandpa's happy face.
Gotcha.
Gotcha, he said. He didn't sound angry at all. It sounded like he was playing a game. Sally, I see you too over there. Sally slowly moved the clothes out of the way. I see what you kids are doing. This made us both freeze. You're playing a game of hide and seek. Well, I found you. He started laughing and left the room. Alright, come you two, time for dinner. We both got up and looked at each other for a minute. We both knew what the other was thinking. That was way too close. We slowly made our way to the kitchen before turning the corner. I looked at Grandpa's room, couldn't see anything moved, so I guess he didn't notice. Turned the corner and inside. I'm glad that didn't backfire on me. Sally stayed for dinner because of the usual reason. She didn't want to go back. Her mom's crazy, and she was too tired to walk anywhere. Grandpa had called her mom and asked if she could stay the night. Hear her mom yelling over the phone, but she still said yeah. We had chicken nuggets and macaroni. It was really good. And
Actually
stuff, and I
that
was
actually
full
does sound like a
afterwards.
really good. That actually does sound like a really good combination for dinner.
I used to put hot dogs in mine.
Fuck yeah! You ever just put?
You know who else puts hot dogs in their macaroni?
My Uncle Frank.
My mom.
Oh. Oh. Yeah, sometimes like it leads to be like about the same my mom is just like my Uncle Steve, he's a magician. Oh.
And you know who
And my mom.
God damn it. I was full afterwards. After dinner, Grandpa went to wash up and go to bed. Sally and me went up to my room so I could get her out a sleeping bag. We watched TV up in the room. Well, it was still about 11-ish. Kept thinking about the back room and Grandpa's room, which was it, and what was in it. Your line.
Hey Sally.
I asked her if she was sitting in the beanbag chair in the corner.
Yeah?
What do you? Oh, that's you.
What do you think is in that room?
She slipped on your tummy and put her feet up in the air.
She flipped on your she flipped on your tummy. She flipped on your What?
On her, I guess. It's a lot of
I don't
splitting
know. What do you
hairs.
think is in there?
Truth was, I don't even know what was in there. I was really curious about it when we were in there, though. Maybe Grandpa was a spy or something. His secret lair was in there. Maybe he was a mad scientist with a laboratory. Really didn't have a clue. Laboratory.
It's the same shit. Whatever. Dexter.
Dexter, get the fuck out of here!
Dee, get out of my lab!
DT, come here. I'm gonna come in you.
Ah!
No! Sweet home Alabama, here I come.
Sweet home Alabama. Not sure. I'm glad he didn't catch us snooping in there. Snoop love you too. Yeah, no joke.
She turned back to the TV. Sometimes I thought she was more interested in TV than what I had to say. Doesn't matter now. I'm trying to think if we could get cut. Think if we could get cut. I knew it wouldn't. I knew we wouldn't, but we did leave any clues. Couldn't think of any. Or did we leave any clues? Couldn't think of any. We put the mirror back where it was, and the rest of the room looked the same as we came in. Haven't lost anything. I don't think. Wait, what about?
Ah! Sally, do you still have the spatula?
She turned over and pulled it from her pocket.
Yeah. Why?
I checked my pockets, couldn't find anything but lint. She suddenly knew what I meant by that.
You lost the spoon?
She said up quickly.
I think you dropped it in the back room.
We both stood up real fast. I think I also lost the N-word pass.
Oh, that's not so bad. I think we dropped it in the back room. We have to go back and get it. He'd
Also,
be
the
sure to
poop
find
sock
it
is
here.
in there. She said while she was already running out of the room.
Ah! Ah! We have to go back and get it. Wait!
I ran after her. She stopped right before the stairs.
What? We had to go back and get it. I know, but it's not like she could just run it in there. For the mirror down, Grandpa, we get for the mirror down. We can't just go ask him if we can get it. We have to be sneaky. This has become a covert mission.
Covert mission. She heard this and nodded.
Sneaky. Got it.
She slowly made her way down the stairs as I followed. We made it down all 3 sets of stairs, Jesus Christ, and came out of the living room. Everything was really dark and quiet. I got scared, but I knew I couldn't show it. We got back down on our hands and knees and started hall again. After we took the right turn at the end, I moved past Sally to take the lead. I told her I had this, and she nodded. I made my way to the bedroom door and slowly grabbed the doorknob and turned it. Grandpa was snoring in bed, and everything was dark. His pants were off, and he was holding a phone that said furry porn.
Okay, Coomer.
I think he was also jacking off to what looks like the lady with the bathwater lady. It's kind of weird. But anyways, there was light coming through the windows and lines on the wall of the light of the garage outside. Sally was right behind me, trying to be as quiet as possible. We crept around the base of the bed, really slow, like after a time, and to the other side. All that was left is to move the mirror. I looked back at Sally, then at Grandpa. We both were equally as silent. Sally got on the left side of the mirror, I got on the right. We couldn't lift it back or let it fall again, so I told her to put it at the bottom. Heard the sound of it dragging on the wall above the carpet below. I pulled enough that the door opened, told Sally to stop. It's only about 2 feet of space between the mirror and the wall, but that was enough. I reached in with my left hand, opened the door. It was just as dark before. It seemed to go on forever. Backed out of the way so Sally could go in first. She looked at me like I was stupid or something, but shrugged and went in. It was, again, partly for me being scared, but also so she didn't screw up shutting the door.
These stairs.
She whispered to me from somewhere
Stairs.
below. I nodded but realized she couldn't see and just went on to shut the door. I heard a loud thud on Sally screaming behind me. Looked back really quick, but I couldn't see anything. I peeked around the mirror to see if that woke Grandpa up. When I could finally see him, I quickly went back inside and the door slammed shut. His eyes were wide open, looking right at me. Sally finally stopped screaming, but now crying at the bottom of the stairs. I stood up at the top of the stairs trying to find a light switch. When I found a cord, pulled it hard, nothing happened. Pulled it again and again, but it wouldn't turn on. Fell on the walls and found a light switch. With one flick, I turned on. Everything got real bright. I ran down the stairs to find Sally curled up, crying around the corner.
Sally, are you alright?
I stood looking over her to see if she was hurt.
No.
She replied, tears in her eyes, and her arms wrapped around herself. Nothing ever happened to me. Like this shred fallen a couple times. Mom, Daddy would be there to make me feel better. They weren't here, but Grandpa was. He had to help me if he knew she was hurt. At the top of the stairs, I heard something being moved and a creaky door opening.
Wait, hang on. Oh, Grandpa, you have to help. Sally fell, and I think she's hurt. Grandpa, please hurry.
I turned the corner and saw Grandpa at the top of the stairs. He wasn't frowning or smiling. His face was kind of neutral. Slowly made this way down the stairs, looked back at Sully, to Grandpa. She was at the very start of the hall. I made a left and bit at the end. The place did lead somewhere, but I'm sure Grandpa didn't want us down there. When Grandpa reached the bottom, I ran up to him asking for help. All he did was shove me aside and walk up to Sally. When he got over her, he got down on one knee and turned her face to the light with his hand. I think she hurt her arm. He let go of her face and looked at her arm she was holding. She held it up. Nothing happened for a second, so Sally began to have her arm back down. Grandpa grabbed her arm real hard from what I could see. Sally screamed. I grasped, held my hands up to my mouth. Grandpa twisted her arm and hand threw it to the side. He grabbed her face once more and lifted her from the ground. Looked like it hurt a lot because her face got all red and she was making pain noises.
Doors.
She looked at her arm, turning her to light before throwing her near by the wall. Sound of her hit when she hit made me sick to my stomach. She landed on the floor and stopped moving. I couldn't hear her make any more sounds either. Grandpa made his way past me to the base of the stairs. I couldn't move from that spot, feel real sick of what I just seen. I look at Grandpa and he looked at me, turning to block the path upstairs. Think you're tough now, huh? Go on. You're so curious what's down there. Go on, take a look. You have 5 minutes. He all folded his arms in front of him and gave me an angry look. A few tears made my way down the Chico. Walked past Sally. I turned back to her. Grandpa shook his head and pointed down the hall. I was really scared and stuff, both for Sally and me, but I made my way down the hall real slow. When I got to the end, it turned left. I looked around the corner and right into an opening room. I looked back one more to see Grandpa getting closer, so I quickly made my way inside the big room. The room was kind of dark and smelled funny. I could see plants and flower pots around the walls with some kind of weird table in the middle of the room. Looked like it was metal or something smudged on it. There was a sink in the corner along with a locked cabinet and a bin next to it. I went closer to the center of the room to get a better look at the table. It was just a plain flat metal table. On the ground I saw a ring or something. Picked it up and I saw something was written on the inside. Love never dies. Love never dies. Grandpa said from the doorway behind me. That's what the ring said too. I got scared and dropped the ring. It belonged to your grandmother. She was always the sweetest desert flower there ever was. I remember when I first proposed to her. Had the ring specially made for her. It's true, you know. Love never dies. Or never does die. He looked down at his feet and sighed and made his way over to me. She never really did die then, you know. She's still here with us. As it said, love never does die. Only bodies do. I was getting more and more scared at the man in front of me. Each footstep, he came right to me. She loved you. He put a hand on my shoulder. And you always said you loved our garden outside. Especially that oak tree back there. I was getting more uneasy this second. I had no idea what he meant. Do you know what I did? I discovered something while studying down here. It's what I've been working on for the better part of 10 years now. I discovered something that could put all the dead bodies in the world to use. I wanted to make a break for the door, but knew he would catch me. He walked over to the spiky flower plot on the table. I think it's called a cactus.
No
Oh no!
shit. Hey, I discovered that we can just milk. We can just use plants as consumers. We don't need to rely on humans anymore. We can keep
You
YouTube
can make
on-
billions, billions.
Billions! My name's William. Billions!
Humans may get fertilizer. Blood and tissue work better than any name brand product out there. Works for any type of plant too. From trees to flowers to even cactuses. I can make millions on this research and finally retire. Having accomplished something, he turns to me, and you could be a part of it if you wanted to, but you'd have to promise not to tell anyone about this yet. If you keep quiet, I can buy all the things your mom and dad would never buy you. You and me, kid. He kept playing with the needles on the spiky plant.
What happened to Grandma?
I slowly started walking towards the doorway. She was the first I wanted to try my research on. She would have wanted it, and knowing that true love never dies, I killed her. I scattered her parts around the oak tree and watered the tree every month or so with a small amount of her blood. You've noticed the tree's beauty, haven't you? That tree's as wonderful and beautiful as your grandma was.
No, Grandpa. Ugh, this is bad. You can't do this to people. It's mean and wrong.
I yell at him, tears forming in my eyes. He turned to look at me for a quick moment, shrugged, and turned back to his plant. Be part of my riches or my research. I don't really care, William. I ran to him and shoved him, all the anger coming from deep within me. I felt so angry and do something so horrible to Grandma and other people. He fell towards the cactus and let out a really loud scream.
Macho!
I didn't get a good I didn't get to look at him though as I ran out of the doorway down the hall. I saw Sally and went up to her. She still wasn't moving. Even I called her name. You and that little bitch will be underneath the garden in my front porch. You'll make this house beautiful. And Grandpa yelled from the other room. I got scared and ran up the stairs. When I got to the top, I turned the light off and slammed the door shut, although putting a mirror in front of it slowed him down. But I thought I was already running down the main hall. Went out the back door and tried to get out of the house to the backyard. It was really dark and the lights from other houses weren't bright enough for me to see. I tripped while getting away from the house. Some dirt getting in my mouth. We almost made me sick. Yeah, that's grammar. I ran to the back fence and climb it, but I couldn't because it was too high. I had nowhere to go. I could see Grandpa looking for me in the house. He turned and went for the back porch. I hid behind the big oak tree and waited for him. Couldn't hear anything except a few crickets and bug stuff. Let's play hide and seek, William, he called from the back porch. I pushed myself up against the tree real tight so he couldn't see me or find me. His footsteps in the grass were moving all around the yard. From the sides of the yard, back and forth. He even checked the shed. Don't go in my shed! But I found I wasn't there. I couldn't hear him close into my right, so I slowly slid to my left of the tree as opposite to him as possible. Started to lose control of my breathing, start feeling real sick. Tears started up again. I could feel them on my cheek. All was quiet for the longest time, and I thought he was going to give up and go inside. I slowly slid around more to the left because of the tree until my back was facing the house. Breathed in deep one more time before turning around. Before I could turn, though, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Gotcha!
The end of the story. Bad show!
Jolly bad show! Now come here, William. You're gonna get some of this cock. You're gonna clean this cock clean. Anyways, that's just been the Creepypasta's Grandpa's back room.
Oh my god, 47 minutes.
Yeah. Like, comment, and
Comment,
subscribe.
Goodbye, everyone.
And we'll see you in another video.
Next video.
Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.